start today seated. Just come to a comfortable cross-legged position. Start to close down the eyes if that feels okay in your body this morning. And we'll just take a few deep breaths together before we begin movement. Just deepening the breath. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. You can make the exhale audible if you want. One more breath. And start to open up the eyes. Just bring the hands to the knees. We'll start to make some hip circles. We'll go 3 or 4 times in one direction, and then we'll switch directions, just going nice and slow, warming up the hips. If you ever feel like you want to switch the way that the legs are crossed, maybe before you start going the other way, so it brings a little bit more balance to the body. One more time, big circle. And then come back into center. And we'll start making our same circles, but with the neck. And if anywhere feels particularly sticky, you can stay and hold on that spot until you feel it start to release a little bit. And same thing here, we'll go a few times in one direction and then switch, go a few times in the other. And if there are any sticky spots, maybe play with just bringing the nose down towards the floor and up towards the ceiling. See if that brings about any relief. And then we'll come back into center. Do another neck stretch. So bring the chin all the way up. Stretch out the throat, the front of the neck. If you want to make it a little bit more intense, try to push your bottom teeth out a little bit past the top teeth. Slowly come back into center, tuck the chin, push the back of the head towards the back wall. And relax, release, come back into a neutral spine. From here, we're going to bring the right leg underneath the left leg on top. So you're trying to line up the knees. My body doesn't want to go there this morning, which is perfectly fine. So this is called our shoelace legs. So from here, we're just going to lean forward as much as it feels good. This will be pretty intense in that left hip or the left glute. Just hold here and breathe. If you want to make the head heavy, if that feels better in your body right now, by all means. And on your next breath, start to lift up, 10 fingertips behind you, push out the chest. You can let the gaze follow and come all the way up. And release, bring it back into neutral. Let's take this right foot out in front of us. The left foot will stay crossed over. So we're heading into a gentle twist. The right leg is straight, 10 the left fingertips behind you. Inhale the right arm all the way up. And then when you exhale, try to loop the elbow with the knee. And use that for a little bit of leverage as you twist towards the left. Twisting through your core, make sure that we're not really tweaking or pushing the lower back. On your inhales, get nice and tall, straight spine. And on your exhales, that's when you deepen your twist if you feel like that's what your body wants. One more breath. Good. Okay, start to release. Back into center. Take this left foot, uncross it, sweep it all the way across. So we are in a very wide-legged forward stretch for our adductors here. So same thing, you can just lean forward as much as feels good. which might be hardly at all. This is a really, really tight place for a lot of people. So this might be as far as it goes. And that is perfectly okay. If you want to make this a little bit more intense, you can flex the feet and just point the toes forward and back a little bit. And you'll start to feel that in the hips. One more breath. And then we'll start to come back up, bring that left leg all the way back in front until we're facing the front of our mat again. Bring the left leg underneath, right leg comes on top, coming into our shoelace legs on the other side. Fold forward over the legs. Heavy head, if that's what you did on the other side. And send your breath into that hip or the glute, wherever you're feeling it most. Start to come back up. Tap the fingertips behind you, push out the chest, let the head come all the way up and back. Then come back into a neutral spine. Take that left foot straight, right foot is still crossed over. Tap the right fingertips, start twisting towards the right. Inhale, lift the left arm up and hook it over on your exhale. Nice tall spine. Twisting more on the exhales. Using your core. One more breath. And then start to release. We're going to do that same thing on the other side. So this right foot is going to sweep all the way around. So we're in our wide legs once again. But this time we're going to stretch out the hamstrings a little bit. So walk your fingers and your body over towards the left side and just start to fold forward over that left leg. Getting a little bit of space in that right hip. And a gentle stretch for the left hamstring. One more breath. And then we'll walk the hands through center over towards the right. Same thing, fold over that right leg. One more breath. And release, start to come back up to neutral. Sweep that right foot back to the forward. Back forward to the front of your mat again. So we're here just in straight legs, facing the front of the mat. Tend the fingertips behind you. Push the chest out one more time. And then release. We'll cross the ankles, rock forward, and we'll end up in our tabletop position. From here in tabletop, let's just rock back and forth a few times over the wrists, making sure they're nice and warm before we put any pressure on them at all. And then come back into neutral, move through a few cat-cows. So on the inhale, let the chin come up in the tailbone, your gaze. Exhale, round out the back, push it towards the ceiling. 2 more rounds like this, following your own breath. Your inhale coming into cow, and exhale moving through and into cat. Come back into neutral on your next breath, and we'll just start to move freely. So you can push the ribs from side to side. You can start making our big barrel rolls with the hips if that feels good. Whatever your body is asking for. Just move around, make sure that your spine feels nice and warm. Start to come back into neutral. We're going to do, they're called hip cars. So get really strong through the hands and the left knee. Start to flex the right foot, pick it up straight back behind you. Take it out towards the side, up and back in. So we're making big circles with that right knee and warming up the right hip. We'll do 2 in one direction and then switch. Bring the knee up, take it out to the side, and then back behind you. Try to keep your hips square, which is really difficult to do, and make your slow circles, 2 in either direction. And we'll bring the right knee back down, do this on the other side. Flex the left foot, take it up back behind you, out to the side, up in front and back around. Trying to keep the hips as square as you can, 2 times in one direction, 2 times in the other. And then bring that left knee back beside the right. Tuck the toes under, push back through the hands to stretch out the feet. If you've been doing a lot of walking and not a lot of stretching, the feet are probably pretty tight. And then from here, we'll keep the toes tucked. Just start to lift the hips all the way up until we end up in our first downward dog. Pedal out the feet, the calves. Roll around the ankles. And then come find stillness. And we'll take 2 long, deep breaths here. Your next breath, start to tiptoe the feet all the way to the top of the mat, fold all the way forward. Heavy head, shake it yes and no just to make sure. And then lift all the way up on the inhale, roll the spine slowly to stand. Exhale and you get to the top. Inhale, bring the hands up overhead. Let the eyes follow, reach. And exhale, fold. Bring the hands to the shins on the exhale, come up halfway. And then bring the hands all the way down. Take the right foot back behind you. Lift up, use the core, come into your crescent lunge. The hands are overhead. Breathe here. Working on a little bit of balance and strengthening. And then pivot on that back foot, coming into warrior 2. You want your front heel to be in line with the arch of the back foot. Strong arms. Start to straighten this front leg. Point the left toes the same direction as the right. So we're facing the long way on the mat. Interlace the fingers behind you. Pull the hands down. Open up the chest. And then just keep a little mini bend in the knees. Hinge at the hips. And fold forward. And you can let gravity take your hands all the way back behind you. Open up the chest, the collarbone. And let the head be heavy here once again. Two more deep breaths. Try to relax into it. On your next breath, bring your hands down, just release, bring the hands to the hips, and start to hinge all the way back up. Point the left toes back towards the front of the mat and sink back into your warrior 2. Loop the hands forward, come up onto the back toes, head back into our crescent lunge. And then we'll use some momentum, come all the way forward, bring the fingertips down. We're heading into a standing splits. So you'll bounce a little bit off that back foot, bring the hands down, lift that right foot all the way up back behind you. We're going to challenge ourselves a little bit here. So bring that right knee in, tuck it all the way in, start to lift the fingertips up, overhead, and the right knee will come into the chest. Take a breath here, and then send that right foot all the way back to the back of the mat. We'll end up back in our crescent lunge. Good. Start to bring the hands down, frame the left foot. Take the left foot back beside the right, so we're in plank. Hold here. Feel the core. And then bring the knees down, lower all the way to the front of the body. Bring the hands just slightly forward, pull through the finger pads, loop the shoulders up, back, and down, come into cobra. And exhale, release. On your next inhale, come back up into cobra. If you want to add in the twist, bring the left shoulder down, look over the right shoulder. And on your exhale, come back to the mat. Last time, loop the shoulders up on the inhale. Right shoulder comes down. If you twist it on the other side, look over the left. And release back on the exhale. Bring the hands under the shoulders. Push up through your tabletop. We'll end up back in our down dog. 2 breaths here. Again, making those exhales audible if that feels like a good release in the body. And then walk the feet to the top of the mat, fold forward, head and head. Roll the spine up to stand on your next inhale. Big exhale at the top. Hands overhead on the next inhale, look towards your hands, and fold forward as you breathe out. Come up halfway, bring the hands to the shins, and then hands can come down. Take the left foot all the way back, crescent lunge. Feel the strength building in the legs, the space in that left hip. Start to pivot on the back foot, come into warrior 2. And then we'll straighten that front leg, point the right toes the same direction as the left. We'll heel toe the feet in a little bit and point the toes out at a 45-degree angle. From here, we're going to sink into our goddess squat. Bring the hands behind the head. It's going to be a little bit of an ab work. So from here, in our goddess squat, you're going to bring the right elbow down towards the right side and left. You're going to rotate like this, side to side. 3 more times each side. Working your obliques. Legs are probably starting to burn a little bit. 1 more time each way. And then straighten the legs, bring the hands up overhead. Bring the hands back behind you 1 more time. Hold the hands back down as you interlace the fingers, open up the chest. Fold forward, hinge at the hips. You can bring the hands down to the mat. And we'll stretch out the side body a little bit. So walk the hands over as far as you can towards the right. And kind of grip through the left finger pad, so you're getting a big stretch in the left side of the body, in the left lat. Breathe. And we'll walk the hands through center, all the way over to the left. Pull through the right finger pads. Get that same stretch over on the right side. One more breath. We'll walk back into center. Bring the hands to the hips. Come all the way back up. Point the right toes towards the front of your mat again. Sink back into your warrior 2. Loop the arms up, come up onto the back toes, crescent lunge. And then we'll bounce forward into standing splits. Start to bring that left knee in, and then hover the fingertips off and up overhead. Bring bring that left knee into the center of the chest. Take a breath here as you balance. And then send the left foot all the way back, crescent lunge. Bring the hands down to frame. So that right foot, take it back beside the left. We're back in our plank. You can do the same vinyasa we did last time, bringing the knees down, going through cobra. Or if you feel like you're warm and ready in the upper body, move through your chaturanga push-up, upward facing dog, and we'll all meet in our downward dog. 2 breaths here. From here, we're going to wave the spine forward until we're back in our plank. Hold your plank for a breath. Wave the spine all the way back until you're in your downward dog. We'll do this one more time. I want to get one more vinyasa in. So same thing you just did, or chaturanga push-up, upward dog, downward facing dog. Good. 2 breaths. And then we'll start to walk the feet to the top of the mat and fold. Heel toe the feet to the outer edges of the mat. Sit the hips all the way back and down, coming into your yogi squat. You can have your hands all the way out in front if you want a bit more of a release in the lower back. Or you can bring hands to heart center, push the knees out. Wherever you are, take one more breath. And then rock back and come to seated. We'll bring the feet just out in front. We're going to head down towards our backs. So you can bring your hands out in front of you, reach the fingertips forward. Head down as slowly as you possibly can. Last little bit of core work. And when you get to your mat, bring the knees all the way in and give yourself a squeeze. We're going to come into a couple more twists before we head into our final resting pose. So you can bring your arms out into a T and just let knees come all the way over to the left. You can bring them as far down as feels good. If they don't want to come all the way down to the ground, maybe grabbing a blanket or a pillow to put underneath them. Just take a couple more breaths here, just feeling some extra space being created in the spine. Start to lift back up, come into neutral spine, hug the knees in. And then bring the arms back out into that T, let the knees come all the way over to the right. Let your breath start to deepen as we get closer and closer towards Shavasana. One more breath. And then we'll start to rock back into our neutral spine. Hug the knees in. And take the legs out long. Give ourselves one more stretch. So reach the hands up overhead, point the toes, stretch it out. And then bring the arms down by your sides. Let everything relax down into the mat, coming into our resting pose. Close down the eyes if that feels good. And just let the breath come back to its natural rhythm, its natural state. Relax. Start to bring the hands up to the belly. Take one breath here together. Inhale through the nose, audible exhale through the mouth. And then start to wiggle the feet back in, roll over to one side, and push up to seated. Your hands into heart center, or you can leave them on your knees, but wherever you choose to be, thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Namaste to you all. And if you are new to